single Jedi is now an enemy of the Republic. Do what must be done. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
George, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
George, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is really like the end of an era.
Well, it's the last piece in a puzzle that completes the story of Star Wars.
Sure. So what's really going through your mind? How would you sort of perhaps describe your state of, your mood, your state of mind? Would you say excitement, sorrow, nostalgia, relief?
Well, I'm relieved. I'm very glad that I made it to the finish line. And I'm very pleased that it turned out as well as it did. And, I'm very happy now that it's completed.
Right. Everyone has an opinion on this. Perhaps you're best qualified to answer. Tell us, what do you really think? Is it about the Star Wars films that makes it sort of, universally sort of appealing to a 13-year-old boy in India, a 30-year-old man in America, all over the world, really?
Well, it's based on mythological motifs from all around the world. It's not just sort of Western culture, but Eastern culture, every culture, and trying to find the commonality of various stories and mythologies, and then putting those into a movie so that it has a built-in psychological resonance that's common to everybody.
As far as the most maximum sort of revenue earning industry is concerned, I think it's safe to say that Hollywood is that, and Star Wars has largely sort of contributed to that. If we were to talk about the biggest movie making industry, I think the Indian movie industry is considered the biggest, with as many as 800 movies a year. Are you at all familiar perhaps with Indian movies, with Indian cinema?
Yeah, I'm fairly familiar with Indian cinema. I mean, when I went to college, then we were in the sort of Sanjay Ray period of Indian cinema, and that was very important to us as film students. And obviously I'm familiar with Bollywood movies, and now we're getting to see a few more of those in this country. I mean, it used to be that they didn't make their way here, but now they do.
Can you remember any that you perhaps saw lately?
Well, the ones that I've seen that recently are the more Western ones that I can, Pride and Prejudice and those kinds of movies, which sort of has they're more takeoffs on Bollywood movies. But I've seen a lot of Bollywood movies too in the past.
Sure. India's most famous sort of export to America and to Hollywood is, of course, M. Night Shyamalan. He, of course, says that his sort of interest in the movies began with Indiana Jones, which he watched as a child. And that's, of course, a film that you wrote and have been closely associated with. Are you familiar with sort of Shyamalan's work? What do you sort of make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to him on the phone. I know him a little bit. And he's a very talented filmmaker, very talented writer, and I think he really loves movies, which is the secret to his success in the end.
Right. And finally, I'm sure you've been asked this question several times. Is there any likelihood that there will be another Star Wars film?
We're doing a TV series, which is an animated TV series called Clone Wars, and we're also doing a live-action series, which is based on some of the minor characters. But the saga itself, the story of Darth Vader, is over. It started when he was 8, ends when he died. That's all there is to it.
Right. Well, thank you for being on the show, and of course, may the Force be with you always.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Learn to know the dark side of the Force, and you achieve a power greater than any Jedi.
You're under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?